Awesome, awesome, awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, the whole point of this is to have an official onboarding. If you have asked me about onboarding and have said, meet me for the meeting, meet me for the meeting, this would still be a place to have had all the information to help you to get started on next steps, right? Also a place for you to just watch if you are wondering, what it's like to even be here. This process is like, it's a ton of content out there, but to have an official onboarding as an acquisition agent, here you are. So welcome for starters. BCAP is essentially a place to learn, to earn, to grow, and to, truly figure out your next steps as real estate as a whole. If you take a step back, we are operating, BCAP's arm of a family office, being that arm being real estate. There are other things that happen. We do work on multifamily deals. We do work on land. But a great deal of what we do comes from foundationally from working with agents and from working with deals of all sorts. So we don't lean away from any sort of a deal, any deal type, or any part of the United States. If there's a way for us to earn, if there's a place for us to make it make sense, be there. So what is BCAP? I very much explained, that pretty much on the last slide. You know, we, for the real estate side of things, operate here as a very large piece of a family office. We don't have to be in any slides longer than we need to, but we will, go through these smoothly. So, what is your role as an acquisition agent? You are to source opportunities, to analyze opportunities. Yes, it says negotiate professionally. What I will say in the biggest way is your you are to present numbers from a very logical and numerical basis. It is not for you to go and negotiate and figure things out. It's not for you to make things up. We go and we use the data that we are provided, the data that is in the market, and the market's decisions. And we say, this is what we're looking for. We assess value for today. We assess value for tomorrow. We assess value for when the renovation happens. Then we are in a space where we can say, hey, here's what makes sense. Your goal as an acquisition agent is not to carry this thing all the way to the finish line. If it is an acquisition that we are doing, you will be here for as long as we are to hand off the title. If it's an acquisition that we are wholesaling, therefore you will then just be handing that deal off to the disposition department. Regardless, the TC will handle everything after your contract is actually signed. The acquisition cycle, you receive a lead, right? Receive a lead, you start the conversation for that lead. One, there is no shortage of leads. So if you are running low or getting to the point where you need some for tomorrow, I hope that you have actually been contacting all your leads. But essentially, if you've been doing what you need to do, there's no shortage of leads. Please just ask and use inside of the Slack the Need Leads channel. Now, you converse with your lead. You have your conversation about what it actually looks like, what it takes, what makes sense. Do your investigation. Then we do a deep analysis on that deal. We find out, we run numbers, we evaluate what I just said. What is our today number? What is our future number? What is our ARV? What are our renovation numbers? That will help us deduce and make a good decision numerically. Right? We put out an offer. Our offer starts our negotiation process, hopefully. Right? Then we negotiate, we find out what's going to make the most sense. Again, we create a win-win, both sides, go to our contract phase, we handle closing. All of these steps are imperative. Right? This is the stage where acquisition needs to do the most focus. I can analyze every deal in the world for you, but if you aren't putting out offers, you will get contracts. Now, few principles to live by. Numbers before narrative. I care about numbers more than I care about how many your assignments could be huge, they could be small, but in order for them to even be real, you will need good numbers. Without good numbers, you will not do deals, right? Protect capital first. If we come into $2 million worth of capital for us to move around on properties, it doesn't mean that we need to use up every dollar. That does never mean that we need to be loose with our dollars. So protection of capital is about protecting us as a company and reputation, and it also means about protecting us with making sure that we're not just being loose about the deals that we're doing. Right now, we're in an approval stage, so every deal that gets signed, and when you first get started, all of your deals and all of your offers, everything will be approved. And then at a certain point, you won't have a leash. Every opportunity gets analyzed. Again, everything that we look at, land, multifamily, you're a realtor, your cousin that's a realtor, whomever comes in, there is a level of due diligence, and every property, every actual opportunity itself, every lender analyzed, right? Clarity beats assumptions. That and knowing exactly what's going on in an actual property, that and knowing what's going on with our actual offers, that and knowing what's going on with title, with certain scenarios. You get into certain sticky scenarios with some of these deals that you need to ask further questions, right? Another thing, follow up creates contracts. Follow up is a very large part of this. If you want a good pipeline, you want to be follow up. You just want to be in a follow up loop all the time. There are certain times where you ask for a price yesterday, you need to re-ask for that price the following day. You may need to re-ask for that price again the following day just to let people know that you are serious. And also, realtors forget too; they're not robots. All right. The system beats memory. You have your teammates, and you have the system, right? Um, just lean on the system. All of these things in the Slack, your connection to Airtable, running some of very what is little to not much automation. The things that are there are situated to help you. So you use the system. It's not about being in memory. It's about being the fact that you don't have to try to be above the system by any means. You being your own thing or doing your own thing, by all means, right? In your own way, speak your own way. I don't want you to say things exactly like me. I want you to use conversational framework, but the system will help you to succeed in getting a close. There's a reason, a method behind the madness, right? Operate like an owner, think like an owner, think like the investor. That will help you when you go to negotiate, when you go to have these conversations, when you go to talk to the realtor. You speaking, thinking, and operating like an investor as an owner will help you to navigate every conversation because you'll never approach it like you. It's not about not knowing what you're talking about. It's about the position that you take in your conversations and the respect that you gain from that positioning. Now, daily expectations. You are not to find opportunities. You are to find opportunities inside of the leads that you're providing, right? So you're not here, little typo. You don't need to source leads. You need to source the level of seriousness in the leads that you're provided. Connect with agents, sellers, and networks. Stay active in your markets, right? Analyze deals. Analyze every deal that comes by. Run your numbers again, and then run your numbers even tighter, right? Present opportunities. You have support in every opportunity and offer that you put out. So please don't have any hesitation in offers that you put out, and using my research and underwriting channel, fill those things up so that we have more in your pipeline that is going to help you gain more business. Negotiate and close. This is something that you should be to the point of having nearly a contract be signed on a daily basis. And that's how full your pipeline should actually be. These are all market deals. They don't take very long. When a decision is made, when a number is agreed on, we move forward. And here we are, hand them off to TCs. 3 solid opportunities every day. That's a small goal. Like I said, you should be able to have at least one. I'm like technically part-time in calling and being on the phone and gaining deals as well. And I still get to the point of having at least one contract signed per day. You can do multiple, right? Now, how we communicate and how we operate. The Slack is where most of your communication happens, right? Daily communication. We have open office times where you have Q&A times, and we have a daily call at 11 a.m. that I expect to see you on. Right. Updates, keep deals moving, right? No update, next update tomorrow. I'm happy with, hey, we don't have much for this property right now, but we will have a further update tomorrow. It's a real thing, right? Teamwork, we win together. We all do transactions together. When the contract is signed, more than one, two, three, four sets of hands may be working on that property, and that's how we get something moved forward. So do not hesitate to communicate to your team members, communicate to me, and be happy when someone is pulled in to support you for a deal. Transparency, communicate early, right? If you have a problem, if you have a situation, if you have, as teammates and this community that we are building as we operate together. If you have things going on, please communicate to me. It helps with knowing, okay, if you had, you haven't gotten as much volume as I've seen you get in the past 2 weeks, but you actually have something going on at home. Even a small DM, slight DM, hey, a few heavier days, haven't gotten as much output as I wanted. That simple text goes so far, right? Systems, documentation, responsiveness. Systems, you will see sometimes a line of communication, a standard, something gets shared on sometimes a weekly to daily basis because perfection in the system will make it easier for you to close. It will make all of our lives easier in perfecting system. Documentation, a part of the system. But when new forms of documentation or SOPs are put together, it's so helpful to even get feedback for these things, and like responsiveness, all of these things. Yes, the follow up, but the feedback is also very important for me. Communicate what you like and what you don't like inside of these things, what you feel like would be more helpful. We're all moving through this to build a well-oiled machine as great as we are here today. Now, we don't have to stay on too long. Results are important for me, right? I'm holding everyone to a pretty high standard, given there is a system behind you, there is support behind you. You have every tool in the toolbox in order to help you be successful. Integrity, that's a given principle in everywhere that you are. The discipline, I can follow that up with consistency. There is a level of consistency that is required in order for you to be successful, or you will be like the general pop. Team first. I say team first because you should be able to and happy to lean on and support your teammates. There are going to be people that join tomorrow that are going to be where you were 6 months ago, and you will know exactly the hurdle that they're in because you've gone through that and solved that hurdle 5, 6, 7 times over, and 5, 6, 7 other team members that have onboarded. So please share your experience, share your learnings, share your new things. Resourceful in finding resources and providing resources and being resourceful in the things you're in. Right? Growth. My biggest thing on growth is being happy to seek out the information, being happy to show up for the pieces that are learning. I get a little giddy when people are like, "Hey, can we have a meeting over this?" Because it is you seeking the knowledge for the next step for you. What will make your life easier? I can put everyone on this track and say, "Hey, this will help you." But if along the way you know that these certain nuggets will help your day to day, that is just something I love to see. Right now, here we are. Why we here? What's our competitive advantage? Look, the systematic approach. There are wholesale companies, acquisition companies. Let's just say wholesale companies that operate in the millions that are in the same strategy network that we're in right now. Right? The approach works. Data-driven decisions. The approach is based on data. It's not based on fairy tale, right? Risk management, protect capital. We have capital set aside, right? So it helps that some of these deals, when we commit to a deal as a company, everyone is able to rest assured that it's going to go the way it's needed, right? Strong relationships. This is what gets you deals, truly. System, relationships. This is what gets you deals. Systems, consistency, relationships, gets you deals, right? This operational excellence, when I see people using the system, it is something that internally it's madness because it works, but you have to like go in and you still have to turn the knobs and pull the levers, do everything associated to, and you get the result, right? Results that compound, better deals, more wins, greater wealth, lasting impact. You will meet cool people. You will have homes sold in areas that may have had a solution just based on you being the person that started the conversation. It is a very, very wealthy and cool feeling to feel like this. So if I had to say anything, what will get you closer to deals and a level of expectation for you is 24 meaningful connections per day. Right. Connecting with agents 24 per day. A text sent is not a connection. A dial is not a connection. A real conversation. Hey, I remember you from yesterday is a real connection. This is a quantifiable, like this, it's not quantifiable. It's not that it's quantifiable. This is a marker for success, a baseline for success. What that equates to at the end of your week, at the end of your month, you will be a very well connected individual in different spheres in the wholesale space, in the flipping space, in the land space, in the multifamily space. You will have your ear to the ground in places that you could only have done if you were there or if you were well connected, meaningful connections. Now, what does a good deal look like without going through all of this and like piece by piece? You having good numbers on a deal is first and foremost the most important part of this. You have to understand that the market as well is going to decide the value of this thing. We do our due diligence, we do our investigation, and we do everything in order to decide a few things. So what is today's value? What is tomorrow's value? What is it going to take to get this thing to that point? Right? Verified value would mean that we actually have a GC walk and we actually understand what it is. Right? It's a verified value that's concrete. Now, going from strong entry to verified value, we need to know that we've created price discrepancy in our favor, right? In favor of the buyer as well, especially for wholesaling. If we're acquiring a property, this is, of course, we want a good margin for ourselves because we may be borrowing the capital. And if we're using our own chunk of change, by all, yes, we want that margin for all purposes, right? Realistic repairs, I'm going to say that you need to have no more than a $15,000 off this way or that way on a repair value, on a repair estimate, rather, right? What is our exit strategy? We talk through that inside of the Slack, so you don't need to have all of this down yourself, nor do you need to have your repair estimate down yourself. We will work together on all of these steps, especially in the beginning, right? Buyer investor margin. Every formula that we use, whether it's in acquisitions, whether it's in land, whether it's single family, multifamily, however you put it, they are set to have margins for us and for the next investor. And if it's just for us, then it's for us and the lender to be a part of it, us and our financial partners. There is a margin built in. The equations aren't for no reason, so apply them to every deal that you do and also use them as different data sets. There's multiple equations, so it's not about, hey, I use this one and I don't use this one. It's I run all of these to get separate numbers for me. And then when I pass all of this information off to Dispo, they have everything to work with, and we've already ran the numbers, right? And I've seen your brain for the numbers that you ran, which is important for me. And then the BCAP margin. How do we make money, right? Follow up is a part of acquisitions. This is like this is a system. This is a hey, day one, day three, day seven. Here is my message to you. One, yes, follow up is a part of the acquisition process. And without it, you will not have a pipeline. You will not have business. You will not do deals if you do not follow up. Agents are only going to follow up with you maybe once to decide your level of seriousness. After that, what are you doing? But right. So I love this of, pretty much every 3 days. If it's something that's longer winded, yeah, you can go from, hey, I've contacted them in the first week. So I'm going to have, a conversation every now and then. But if you are in a 14-day communication sphere, you need to schedule a meeting with these people. You need to, right? And then there's also this timeline to use to grow your pipeline for people that you are not doing a deal with, right? If you're not doing a deal with an agent or you haven't done a deal with an agent yet, but they're a good agent, you would still like to, this follow-up timeline will also help you, right? And to just call every other week, every few days, every other week is just fine. Um, just to touch base and see if there is a new deal, if they have a deal that's coming up. Agents are cold calling as well. So having access to or the knowing that they have a deal coming up soon is just something that will help you, right? Your pipeline is your business. This is a perfect segue. So I was going to say to help you build your pipeline, right? You get leads, right? Of course, and you should have, there is no limitation on leads that you get. How many active conversations that you're having per day. This is something that you should keep a mental track of and probably take some note of. Because right now we are not tracking this KPI as how many active conversations that you're having. This is something that you need to be doing on a daily basis, starting new conversations and building new branches for people that are talking about real estate with you, right? How many deals have you analyzed? How many properties are you underwriting currently? Big part of your bottleneck, right? That's why we all do it together. So that it never becomes a bottleneck for deals that need to be looked at. Offers, 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 more offers, and then more offers, and then more offers, right? This is what's going to get you deals, even if you're not putting out good offers. You won't. But even if your offers weren't the greatest in the world, you would need offers in order to get deals. This is the bottleneck that shoots most people in the foot in the beginning because they're scared or don't know what to put out as an offer or are unsure. Be unsure. It's okay. By all means, you can be unsure for the first 2, 3 offers that you put out, right? Because your number may not get accepted. You may not be sure on the actual due diligence that you did. All of that's fine, but don't not put the offer out. Start somewhere, right? The follow-up process, important. You should not go a day, a time without following up on your leads. Negotiation, again, if we're gonna, negotiation contract, that's just a process. But the biggest thing is to keep your pipeline full. I am happy to send you leads in all parts of the country until you are assigned a zip code, state, city, however it works out for you. Until you are assigned something, please ask for more leads as the time comes. You having a heavy pipeline will be the reason that you're able to do 10, 15, 20, 30, 40,000 a month because you are consistently reaching out to new leads. Now, use the operating system, right? Here's like you're in a place where there is enough learning material, and we also hold meetings on learning material that is necessary for that time period, right? So there is an OS inside of the Slack that is actual reference for real things inside the company, standards, numbers, generals. Sometimes when you guys ask questions inside of the Slack, the agents that are here currently and have been trained, some of these things are referenced inside of the OS. I just don't have the memorized, Bible verse for where these things actually are. But there is always the information is in the OS. Now, training and understanding, if you do not get something, if something has been shared with you, if a document has been shared with you, if something has happened, we have had a meeting over something, you don't get it, please pull me aside. There's more than enough time in the day for you to receive the training that is necessary, right? Record, whether that's in your spreadsheets or the workflows that are asking that you add things to our Airtable or whatever is asked of you. Because all I ask right now is that within all the acquisitions agents that you do well within the Slack, right? These 2 things. The Slack communication is comms. Comms are important for me, but the record of the things that happen how you communicate inside of the threads important, right? These are the things that also help us move these deals along because information is the key to us being organized, right? We can put the information, in certain places, but the idea is that the best thing that we do is we record in the proper channels that lets everything be organized as it should be, right? And then the meetings are here to remove any source of a bottleneck or roadblock that you may be having mentally or in your workflow, right? Workflows are super important. So if you're in there and you're like, okay, I'm doing great, but every time it's time for me to comp a property, I'm lost. That's what we did today. Not because we're lost, but because it was helpful. Now, your first 30 days is just an important note for you to be taking in, right? Independence is a big word, but I'm not intending for you to just be out there and be independent. It's for you to be able to analyze deals without needing so much support in a way. You should be able to tell me, hey, this is why, and have confidence in where you are. So it would be like confidence times 10. But yeah, that is a level of independence, right? In the beginning, in your first 2 weeks, it should be you learning and then getting to the point where you have applied what you have learned, right? Learn how to use the OS, learn how to run deals, learn by being on calls. We have other acquisition agents that have been here for a bit longer that are making calls. Come learn from other people as well. Come learn from my process, but come learn from other people as well. Because they were just you, sometimes just a week or 2 weeks ago, and are also still learning. So come work in the same place and learn in the same place that everyone is. It will just be helpful for you. Repetition. At one point, you have to start to hold yourself accountable for your KPIs, right? And say, am I creating enough opportunities? Am I making the minimum amount of meaningful connections that I should be in order to get to that point, right? Review your day. Reviewing your day is important for you. I can review your day and give you a performance review every day of the week. One of the most helpful and healthy things for you to do is to go all over yourself and say, am I meeting full capacity? Am I doing everything to get to the point where I'm making this make sense? Right. After this 2 week period, yeah, you should be in here like, yes, with a level of confidence of, okay, I can analyze the deals. I'm ready for my leads. You know where to navigate within the Slack. You know how to get around. Your life's a little bit easier, right? After that, yes, we should hone in on your goals, right? Why are you here? What number are you trying to reach? What are you trying to do from that point? Because yes, you would then be a lot closer to, well, I would be more inclined to say, okay, what is it to help you get to the next step? Then, as I call it with the other acquisition agents, we are focused on sharpening the sword. Now, we're going to go in the Slack for a bit because this is where you need to go next. After all of this, you'd be onboarded into the Slack. You may already have a login. This is where you would be, right? I'm going to go over a few of these channels that are just necessary for people to know, right? Now, acquisitions communication, we haven't used this channel much, but it was asked for recently, and this is just where acquisition communication gets handled internally. Here it is. Active deals are deals that after we've reached a certain point, those are deals that are being worked on. You reach research and underwriting, we thumbs up and we say we're going to put an offer out for that deal. That deal now becomes an active deal. Now, announcements, just general announcements, just general things. Hey, we're having a daily call. Hey, here's a new formula, just general stuff. Now, deal termination, when a deal dies and we're no longer having it, here we are. General chat is the general chat. That's where most everything happens. These are my offices in mission control. Need leads. Need leads. When you are ready for leads, this is where you would go as a channel to say, hey, I would like some leads for these areas. I'm ready for new leads, right? I'm looking at this because I also put this channel up. I forgot that this was here. But every now and then, I'm sure that people are going to use that new leads channel, but it's not as imperative as the other channels. Offer HQ, when you have a deal that is to the point where it needs an offer, this is where you go. We put all of the correlating information for that deal in, and then We get the offer out within here. All of these things are communicated. What is necessary? If you see the offer, you would go in, make that email after the offer has been drafted for you. Open office, when we have open office time and I am live just at the desk, this is the channel that we use. There's a Zoom link that will take you straight there. Questions, as you can imagine, right? Research and underwriting, when you have a deal that is ready for a second set of eyes that need to be looked at, that need concrete numbers on, that you need an anchor price on, this is the channel that you could use. Resources, as you can imagine, roll call. This is our daily channel to talk about who's doing what, where we're going to be, how long can you be on the phone, what times can you be on the phone, check in and check out, show a little clock in section. All right. Warm lead takeovers. I just assign leads here. Every now and then I'll have a deal that I've loved, that I've looked at, or that I've called. This is the place that you would be. Wins. Wins are wins, right? As they happen, we talk about them. And then this is the channel where you start. Introduce yourself, right? Scroll to the top. There is a little questionnaire about you. Please, by all means, jump in here, introduce yourself, let us know who you are, and actually welcome to the team, right? And every single one of these channels, most of them, 99% of them, there is a pinned message at the top where you can go and find out what the existence of that channel is and the format for that channel. Because a lot of times there is a format for these channels, right? I'm generally looking at one, but most all of the other channels have a actual pinned message that says, "Hey, here are the standards. Here's the format for the channel." Now, thank you for being a part of this and for being a part of this onboarding. The whole purpose of this, again, was to have a clear set onboarding video where everything is gone over and we can have some confidence in the fact that you have the same information delivered. Now, there are other videos. You should review some calls. You should hear some calls being done that would be helpful to you just in general. Now, the Slack video, you just had a little overview of the Slack, but there is another in-depth video of the Slack within within the YouTube. Utilize that as well. Last but not least, there's the 11 a.m. meeting. So if you're watching this at night and you've been onboarded, show up to the 11 a.m. meeting. Inside of the Slack, that meeting link will be there. If you are watching this and you're interested, reach out to me. Reach out. Let me know. Reach back. I'm happy to get you to the point where we see if this makes sense, work something out. If you know about everything else to get here, and this is just your point to find out whether or not this makes sense for you, I hope that it helps you make a decision. Other than that, welcome aboard and thank you guys. See you on the next one.